Hello everyone and welcome to the Top 5 Zelda Fan Theories, where fans like yourself send in your favorite Zelda theories. We go through, pick out our 5 favorites, discuss them, and then you all vote on which of those top 5 is your favorite, where the winner will get a $20 eShop card or an amiibo of their choice. Remember to leave your thoughts on each of these theories and which is your favorite in the comments below. This way, we can go through, read all of your comments, discuss all of the theories with you, and to help us select which of these theories is the best. On the next video, we will even read some of your responses, so if you do leave a comment, you have a chance of it being featured in our next video. Sadly, we've all been very busy over the past few weeks, so we haven't had a video in a while, but I hope you enjoy the return. Now, let's begin. Theory number 1 from Karen. So I was watching this. It occurred to me that we might all be wrong. What if that isn't Ganondorf sealed with the creepy glowy hand in the trailer? What if that Malice Spring is actually the hero from 10,000 years before? Sounds crazy, I know. But think about it. Glorious red mane, just like on the Sheikah tapestry. Presumed to be under the castle. I know it's been floated that he's being used as a battery, but that theory doesn't take into account the fact that those ancient people built the divine beasts and guardians in enough time to use them against the calamity of the time. But a great hero being entered in state beneath the places so his spirit would continue to guard the royal family, that makes more sense. And if he was wounded in the battle with the old calamity, there might have been even the tiniest bit of malice left behind to grow over the subsequent 10,000 years. And now it's fully taken over his corpse. A few things here. One, I've never even heard of the battery theory, but I do want to go check it out to see what all details and proof they may have, if any. 2, I like the idea of an ancient hero being corrupted by malice. Maybe it could be Breath of the Wild's 2's version of Dark Link or something like that. We've seen people being possessed and controlled before, like Nabooru in Ocarina of Time, being possessed by Twinrova, which actually ended up in a pretty epic fight in the Spirit Temple. So instead of Link fighting a friend that's been possessed, Link fighting the new hero fighting the old hero who is possessed. Actually sounds pretty epic. But I would love to hear what everyone else thinks about the malice growing and corrupting the ancient hero. Other than that, I'm going to have to say that this theory is halfway right. My personal thought is that it is Ganondorf, but of course there are all of the theories about Ganondorf being the hero. Which Ganondorf was only a hero once before in A Link to the Past when he created 𝐼𝐴𝐺𝐻𝐼, his alter ego who actually saved Hyrule from an even bigger evil. Though he could have created that evil. It's never actually stated if he does, but it's still interesting. And of course there's also the theory that Ganondorf is the ancient hero. Theory number 2 comes from Chris, who says, okay, I have a theory. What if the door to the temple, or to where Ganon is kept, is where the 8th heroine is located? Doesn't it look almost like a door or like it's hiding something behind it? What if that's where he has been sealed away, or covered up the entrance to the ancient temple we see in the trailer? I think there will be something that will end up breaking it, like maybe an earthquake, and the cliffs start falling, and it gets hit, and it crumbles to the ground. It's just my theory. What do you think? Any possibility you think? So I have a theory video that I'm actually working on that goes really in depth on where Ganondorf's body could possibly be buried. So look out for that in the coming weeks. And of course everyone in the comments, let us know what your thoughts are on the 8th heroine being the entrance and Chris's overall theory. Our next theory comes from Alex, who says, I believe the sequel to Breath of the Wild is only the beginning of a series that is going to create the most epic adventure for our newest hero in the franchise. A battle that lasts over a century between the Curse of Demise, the Chosen Hero, and Spirit of Hylia. The story of the sequel will only bolster that of its predecessor, creating an era that will be looked at as one for the first time in the Zelda universe. I know technically we have the same hero in a few related titles, but none of the storylines really build the story of the previous adventure. I feel like the timeline establishment created a little more of this, but not many players think of a different game while playing a one with the supposed same hero. This sequel will have the same world, the same root of evil, and the same hero, which really has the potential for so much in the creation of a true epic. The hero of the wild will be the most memorable for his accomplishments over 2+ games. The groundwork has been laid for them to really create a series that binds together a rather scattered series. So I think at most, this could end up being a trilogy, but I really think in the second, and if it goes to a third game, we will obviously keep Hyrule, but we will also end up venturing to another land, like the land to the west or the north on the map of Hyrule and Breath of the Wild. There are trees, buildings, and other structures that you can see, or if you hack the game so that you can actually make it there, you can run around and see a bunch of cool stuff that was left unfinished. So maybe those are things that they want to incorporate in the next game, giving you more land to explore. Or maybe there's a land that you can sail to off in the distance that you can't quite make it to in Breath of the Wild. We know there are a ton of different countries just outside of Hyrule, where a lot of the other games take place. Like Nintendo has confirmed that Termina is a real physical location. We also have the land featured in Triforce Heroes, which is supposed to be a neighboring country to Hyrule as well. Of course, the Oracle games, Labrina, Holodrum, all of these other places. There's even a world underneath called Subrosia, and Nintendo could always create new lands. But I think as well as having the old Hyrule return for Breath of the Wild 2, we're also going to get a new second land, whether it's like a dark world or low world type place, which for the most part looks like Hyrule, but more corrupt and evil, or an actual physical land like we've seen in games like the Oracle series, Majora's Mask, and the others. Here we have Lisbeth's theory. She says, "My favorite theory is the Zonai is the Twilight. Short said, long ago, an ancient mystical tribe, the Zonai, was obsessed with the Triforce. To get it, some of the Zonai used an artifact, fused shadow, to open a gate for Demise to enter, so that they would get a hold of the Triforce. Their plan failed, and Hylia, with help of the Sheikah, sent the interlopers to the Twilight Realm. P.S. Not all of the Zonai that got sent to the Twilight was part of the riot against Hylia, and they kept believing that the ancient artifacts they made, the Divine Beast, would save them. Time passed, and history became a legend. To add an extra twist, what was the name of the Zonai who opened the gate for Demise to enter? Maybe Majora? So this is an interesting theory to think about, but I think myself, along with most people, believe that the Twilight were just the Sheikah mixed with the Gerudo and possibly other races that may have been there previously, but for the most part we do see that their culture mostly revolves around dark Sheikah-like magic, like the Sheikah defectors, or what you would call the pre-Breath of the Wild Yiga clan, because Sheikah defectors are basically just Yiga members, except they don't follow Master Yoga. And they have a lot of Gerudo symbolism going on. Even their throne has the Gerudo symbol on it. With that said, this is still a very interesting theory. Our next theory comes from Brian, who says, "My theory is that the three dragons in Breath of the Wild are merging and unifying the split timelines by terraforming Hyrule, merging features from each of the three into one new Hyrule, each dragon from a different feature. Farosh creates lakes and water features, Dinral creates canyons, and Naydra creates mountains. Then the dragons return to the Sacred Realm, which acts as a bridge between the three timelines. This is why strange features like the Zonai ruins are so far apart from each other. Though the Zonai are said to be from the Pharaon region, how else would a Stone Age technology tribe to be able to build massive ruins in the Akkala and Hebrew regions? They didn't. They built them in Pharaon, and they were moved to the current positions. Same with the Lost Temple, Lost Woods, Hyrule Castle, formerly being located on the Great Plateau and having been moved, etc. The Golden Goddesses are attempting to intervene in Hyrule, probably because the demise cycle was interrupted by sealing Ganondorf." So this is interesting, but any theory based off of geography, I instantly kind of ignore, because Nintendo has said a few times that the only reason that different places and different statues, temples, monuments, etc. show up in new areas, and the same reason that Lake Hylia in one game looks completely different in another game and is located in a completely different area, isn't because of anything to have to do with the lore unless specifically stated. It's mostly just because if they put the same Hyrule in every single game, it would be really boring. So they change it up, move locations around to keep everything fun. Not because of some big lore theory or anything, but literally just so it can be fun. And that's why Kakariko Village in one game may look completely different in another game and located on a completely different side of the map. The dragons, I don't think they would have the power to unite the timelines. We actually have a really great theory that so far has not been debunked, and actually has statements from Aonuma and others at Nintendo that help strengthen it, about Hylia possibly being the one who combined the timelines. And of course, Nintendo's official statement on their website of where Breath of the Wild takes place is at the end of all 3 timelines, not one specific timeline. But that doesn't necessarily mean the timelines were combined. All they state is that it takes place at the end of all 3. So it could take place at the end of all 3 at the same time or individually, depending on how you look at it. I've actually had a lot of people trying to quote some horrible YouTube channel about how it takes place in the Downfall timeline because of Link's hair and other stupid stuff. Which again, Nintendo has said they changed the way Link looks in each game, not based upon where it is in the timeline, but just so that each Link on their own can be unique. And there's also the YouTube channel that posted a timeline video about every single Link being the descendant of the Link in the previous game. Everyone in the comments below, let us know which was your favorite and what your thoughts on all of these are.